Some disasters you see coming, others, they blindside you. A whale-turned missile, a man waking up on an autopsy table, and a city drowned in beer. These aren't myths. They happened, and you won't believe how. 3 of history's strangest disasters. 3 stories you'll never forget. Let's dive in. We start with a tale of miscalculated destruction, an 8-ton disaster that rained chaos from the sky. Florence, Oregon, 1970. An 8-ton whale carcass washes ashore. It smells awful. It's decomposing fast, and local officials need to get rid of it quickly. Their solution? Dynamite. The Oregon Highway Division figured the explosion would scatter the whale into tiny, scavenger-friendly bits, but they miscalculated. Boom! Whale blubber rained down like artillery fire. Rotting chunks, some the size of refrigerators, came crashing from the sky. One unlucky man watched in horror as his brand new car was obliterated by falling whale. Instead of solving the problem, they made it worse. The beach was still covered in whale remains, only now everything smelled even worse. Oregon officials learned their lesson. Dynamite and dead whales do not mix. From exploding whales to waking nightmares, this next disaster is straight out of a horror movie. Imagine waking up in the worst possible place on an autopsy table. That's exactly what happened to Carlos Camejo in Venezuela. After a highway accident, paramedics declared him dead at the scene. But as the scalpel sliced into his chest, Carlos woke up. Dead bodies don't bleed like that. The doctors realized their mistake. Carlos was very much alive. He groaned, gasped, and tried to move, sending the morgue into chaos. His wife had been called to identify his body. Instead, she walked into the room and found him alive. Imagine her shock. Carlos got a second chance at life, and a lifelong distrust of morgues. Picture this. You're walking down the street when suddenly a tidal wave of beer barrels toward you. Sounds like a dream, right? For the people of London's St. Giles district in 1814, it was a nightmare. The Moo and Company brewery had a massive vat holding over 135,000 gallons of beer. On October 17th, the metal hoops holding it together snapped. The entire thing exploded, unleashing a flood of beer into the streets. Buildings collapsed, cellars flooded, and tragically, 8 people lost their lives, either drowning or being crushed by debris. Meanwhile, some Londoners saw an opportunity, drinking beer straight from the gutters. Amazingly, the courts ruled it was an act of God, meaning no one was held responsible. And the final irony? The brewery got a tax break for the beer that drowned a city.